There are 1 billion reasons to not continue. Every day, there's at least 10 reasons not to continue this. Everything is freaking hard. It's like, why do I keep doing this? But you have to find something deep within you, and I think that's what I'm most proud of. I've kind of always felt an obligation to my family, to my immigrant family, to be the engineer, to be the successful, smart STEM girl. And I was like, well, what if I was encouraged to just write? I need acknowledgement. If I got it, then tell me I got it. Then. We do kind of need it, but then we don't. Like when I'm creating, I'm not thinking what other people will think of this. But it matters. Parasite gave me a rebirth, really. Because I watched that film in a room full of people. It was one of those really beautiful standalone theaters, like old time, where it's just one screen. And we all walked out with just silence in our jaws to the floor, and people from different backgrounds and different age groups. It was like a very mixed demographic in there. And I was like, this is the kind of impact that I want to have on people.
Welcome back to another episode of the Creator Spotlight series in partnership with The Crazy Phrase. My name is Daniel, founder and CEO of the Monarch brand. This series is designed to platform creatives in the visual, performing, culinary, and language art spaces. I know it's been a minute, but we're back with a really good one today. We have the founder and owner of Palmer Productions LLC. She's a screenwriter, she's a producer, she's the host of her own film festival. Who the fuck else would I be talking to? We have Monique Henry with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm a little stuffy, but I feel great. I'm really happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad you can make it. You had a busy summer, and you're not going to sue me, right, for doing what I just did?
No.
Just have to make sure.
A busy summer. I did have a busy summer. Wow. I can't believe summer's already over.
I know, it's crazy. It's flu. I will say this though. One thing I'm thankful for. This is my first summer in Atlanta, and you would have thought it was my first summer in Seattle because it rained the whole summer.
Really?
Yeah, it rained like a good amount of the summer, and so I really wasn't able to do anything like outdoorsy until fall. So like after Labor Day, it kind of cleared up. So
I was just in Atlanta. So,
oh really?
And it was nice. Yeah, it was chill. So I guess I missed the rain. I think I did. No, my friend did. He was like, you just missed like a ton of rain, so you came at a perfect time. I think he did say that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You really did. Cause yeah, the summer it was like, will it ever stop? So yeah, glad you're feeling better also. And again, really excited. Minor icebreaker. You went to Texas, right? In college, like not Texas, but yes, the Longhorns. You follow the football team?
We are Texas. We are the entire state of Texas. Yes, I'm a Longhorn. We own the entire state of Texas. Yes.
Heard.
Other schools, nah.
I have no affiliation with Texas, so I'm just gonna take you at your word.
No, I mean,
how you feel about the season so far? Yeah, I feel you.
I'm very upset. My son, I gave birth to my son, Arch Manning. And, he's not doing terribly, but, when we get to these SEC games next week, I'm going to really need him to lock in and perform. And I think he will. I think, like his mother, he performs well under pressure. So I'm hoping that that's the case. Because if it ain't, we're going to struggle. But, yeah, we've got a lot to work on.
Well, sending good energy towards the rest of y'all season. I asked because I also went to a school that was good for us. It was good at football. I went to Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I am a Die Easy sports fan. I went while we were good though, so I will preface it with that. But when people ask me how we're doing now, I'm like, oh, we still got a team. I didn't even know we had a team. So yeah, that's where we're at. But what'd you say?
I said, yeah, y'all do.
Yeah. But it was an engineering school. So, I know you was an engineer, and I know a lot of engineers, obviously, but none of them that had the journey that you had. I'm really excited to talk to you about your journey. So you were a civil and environmental engineer, correct?
I'm I am. Yes, civil and environmental. I took all of the structural physics, statistics, all those labs and courses. Yeah.
So, how long has the creative side been a part of you though? Like, was it there during that time also?
Thank you for asking that. Yes, it always was. I actually wanted to be an architect growing up. I wouldn't say we didn't move a lot like military people. We weren't military people, but I lived in four houses growing up. So I think that's a pretty decent number. And I bring that up because my parents would take me, we built all of our houses as well. So my parents would take me to find and look at floor plans, and I would create my own floor plans. I also would write my own stories as a child. I mean, they never go on new. They're just like, this girl's just, this little girl's just writing her own stories, whatever. But my mom kept them. So yeah, I think I did always have like that creative side in me. And then my family back in Panama, when I told them I wanted to be an architect, they were like, they don't make any money. They just do the drawings and then like that's it. Like you have to work a little bit harder to make that kind of money. Whereas an engineer, you can take those drawings and bring them to life. They make money. So that's how I ended up in engineering. But yeah, it was always there. I've always been a creative.
Okay, gotcha. So as an adult, you mentioned some of the childhood creations. As an adult, what was your first creative endeavor, for lack of a better word?
My first creative endeavor, everything as an adult. Okay, so is that like 21 and on? Man,
We can go with 21. Yeah.
21. Man, you're making me really dig deep. I don't remember. There's so many. I don't really think that there's like a like a milestone that sticks out. I
Which
will,
ones stand out then? Doesn't have to be the first. Just the what sticks out to you.
okay, I will say I wrote a story and it was in Spanish and it was called El Último Vino, The Last Wine. And I'm kind of obsessed with women being villains in stories because always get to be the villains. And so I wrote this screenplay and I submitted it to like a competition. I think that's the one that I remember. I'm sure I did a lot of stuff. I was very creative in middle school and high school. I didn't get to be as creative in college, obviously, because we had to grind. I was in engineering. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Yeah, you're. Oh. Did you put these questions in the interview? I did not. That was good.
I
Okay.
did.
Okay. Period. Okay.
I did my research a little bit, just a little
Okay.
bit,
Thank you for asking. I'm gonna think about that.
for sure. So I would say, in my mind at least, from graduation, college graduation on, you're an engineer. In 2019, you watched the movie Parasite. How did that change you?
Um, do I have my Parasite book here next to me? No, it's in my other area. I was gonna show you like my Parasite book. One of them. Um, it changed my entire life. It helped me change my entire life, let's put it that way. Because I watched that film in a room full of people. It was one of those really beautiful standalone theaters, like kind of old time, where it's just one screen. And so it was about 200 of us in this huge, large theater on the West Coast. And we all walked out with just silence in our jaws to the floor and people from different backgrounds and different age groups. It was like a very mixed demographic in there. And I was like, this is the kind of impact that I want to have on people. In engineering, they tell you how important it is, right? One of our pillars, the number one pillar, is to hold paramount the safety of the public. That's what we do as engineers. No one thinks that, right? Unless you actually go to school and you work to do this, be in this industry. Um, and so I've always kind of felt a responsibility to the public and to people, but I never felt like I was making an impact. You don't live day to day thinking engineers that made everything possible. Everything you do every day is possible because of people like us, right? But you don't spend time thanking them. And I was like, wow, I could make movies, and people would be like, yeah, like I could really make an impact. And I was kind of at a dead end with my career and my happiness and my goals. And so Parasite gave me a rebirth, really.
Um, I guess what was so obviously you transitioned. What was your thought process? You was at a dead end, and you had a thought process for like, okay, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
What was that thought process like?
Man, watch this movie. I have it's a anniversary that I celebrate. I believe it's in September or November. Probably November because I would have seen it already. So November 2019, I watched this movie, I believe. And because I'm an engineer, because I'm structured, because we have, I do construction timelines and design timelines and phases and reverse scheduling, all this kind of stuff in my entire career. I was like, all right, we got to start making movies. I think we're supposed to make movies in LA. All right, how do I go from living in Dallas to living in LA? And that's November 2019. By July 2021, I was living in LA. So I said, okay. The pandemic was announced like December 2019, I believe. Yeah. Or it was like creeping up and then it was like official March 2020. Um, and so I think it was interesting how that all kind of played out. But I was like, all right, we got to get the money right. And my money was already very well, which is kind of, the difficulty in like leaving. But the pandemic really isolated us, and it really made things more difficult. And so it was very easy for me to kind of lock in into what I wanted to do. I was like, what is the world doing? The world doesn't even know what's going on right now. So let's lock in and figure it out. So I just, I said, let's get the money right to move. Let's start letting people know. And that part is interesting. I bring up letting people know because I don't think people like they take me seriously. And people know that I do what I say I'm going to do, but we're in a pandemic, right? Like things are happening. Everyone's like, okay, we're just trying to make sure we don't get COVID and we don't like, we know how to adjust to this new lifestyle. But okay, Monique, congrats on deciding to move to LA. Okay. And yeah, I mean, when you want to do a thing and it's really burning inside of you, and every day you wake up and you can't get out of your head, you got to do it. And that's just how I honor the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. That's how I honor that within me. And I remember I was on a meeting one day because I'm still working as an engineer. And the director of my account was like, Monique, you've been kind of like distant in these meetings. Like you're not always, very, you're usually, he was like, I know you're always on your shit. You got everything mapped out. You go into great detail, but lately you just can, I'm like, honestly, yeah, I didn't know it was that obvious. I'm thinking about making movies. I ain't gonna lie to you. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it was pretty evident when you're locked in, because then you like check out of other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think there is something to letting people know, like to your point, because like we're in a place in society now where it's pretty easy to transition from like I'm an Instagram user to I am an Instagram user who now podcasts or creates content or something like that.
Right.
And maybe one would hypothetically create another Instagram, and obviously their friends migrate over to that and they support them as they may or may not support them as still the person that they are, not necessarily like the content creator.
Right.
So I think it is important to like differentiate that to people to be taken serious, because again, it's so easy to get into things. It's equally as easy to get out of them,
It's interesting that you use the word easy. Is it easy? Maybe it is. Maybe the concept or the idea of making that transition is easy. Like you could just do it, right? I like that. I think we have I don't know if it's easy. I think it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done. But I guess what you're saying, it's like we have the freedom to. So like when you want to, you can just do it, right?
For
We have
sure.
the freedom to do it. I think, how people online talk about, oh, don't tell anyone your next move. Keep it a secret.
Yeah.
You move in silence like lasagna, like and sure, guys. I mean, sure. If your life has, made you realize that you can't tell people your next move because, they trying to block you, whatever. Me and my God, my universe, we don't kind of operate in that way. I think I tell people for accountability. And it also builds a trust and a respect over time too. Oh yeah, you did say you was gonna do that. I did.
For sure.
And here we are. And I think I brought that up because I found my apartment, I think it was May. I signed, and my mom and sister call, we're still kind of pandemic, it's middle of pandemic. And I was like, yeah, I found my apartment for LA. I'm moving there. Like, wait, what? I was like, I told y'all I was doing I told y'all I was doing this. They're like, wait, like what do you mean? You're moving? I was like, yes, I'm moving to LA. I told y'all this is what I was doing. What did you think I was? Yeah, I've signed the lease, it's done. I've hired my movers and everything. I'm out of here. So you're really doing it? Yes. So I think that was the way that people responded to me. My friends, they were all like, oh, no, you were dead ass. Yes. I know I said it. I say things very casually too. I'm going to do this. And if you don't remember, of course, I'm not a pride. Like you're not thinking about the thing that Monique said that one random Tuesday, but I'm going to do it. Like I said, I would.
Yeah. I just want to, just for super clarity, the transition is not easy. I just want to make the announcement of a transition is the easy part, but
yes.
As someone who also has like an undefined burning to like move on to something else and have done a lot of trial and error, like I know it's fucking hard. But so I just wanted to acknowledge that the Instagram caption part or the
you're right.
saying I'm gonna do it at a happy hour, that's the easy part. The doing it part,
talking. Yeah.
Right.
Talking about it.
The actual trust building behind it that comes from you actually doing the action. Very difficult, especially like you're not the first person that I've interviewed that like has transitioned, and there's no playbook for that. There's no Gumroad course, there's no PDF, there's nothing. You have to create that shit on your own. So with that said, you're in LA now. You did the first thing that you said you were gonna do. What was the first tangible pivot now that you're in the entertainment sphere, geographically speaking? What was that pivot that that move that you did like first?
My first move after moving here to LA, I joined a writer's room. People always ask, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? It's really weird. There's this thing called flow state in which, some people just get into their flow state, like Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, those composers, and even like Kobe or LeBron. If you ask LeBron, how did you win this championship? How did you score this shot? We have to go back to the days of practice. Like there's a lot of that goes into it, but you just reach this flow state. And so it's very difficult for me to tell people, how did I do it? I just did, right? Like there was no other path for me. I was very tunnel vision into it. But the thing I can share with people as like an accountability that's coming back to that is to say that you tell people who you are, right? You know me as an engineer, and then I start telling you I'm a screenwriter, right? I'm not an aspiring screenwriter. I don't wish I was a screenwriter. I'm not trying to be a screenwriter. I am a screenwriter. I study it. I study the greats that have done it. I study film. I write screenplays. No, I've never been paid for it. No, whatever, but this is what I do now. So you can stop calling me an engineer now because I'm a screenwriter. And I think that's important too. It's important to be who you want to be and be who you say you are. And that was a big deal. I started tweeting and saying all these things like, I am a screenwriter. I study film. And so then people talk to you. And when people are in the rooms, they put your name in the right rooms. And so the first thing that I was living here for 4 days, and I got into a writer's room and I signed contracts and everything. And how many episodes of television did we write? Probably like 30 episodes of television. And oh my gosh, I was just so impressed with myself, right? Didn't get paid a lot, but I was just really happy to be in a writer's room just like that because I decided to, because I said I was. And I had to interview, I had to do all of that, but yeah.
Very dope. I will say to your point, like at a very surface level, I don't know if he still does this, but at a very surface level, once LeBron is in the playoffs,
Yeah.
There was a point in time where he would announce on Instagram, for what it's worth, or wherever,
Yeah.
I'm going 0 dark 30. Like, you will not hear from me
Period.
until the playoffs are over, you know? So there's work that is put in prior, but then there's also the, I'm going to lock myself in a room, metaphorically speaking, until I get what I say I'm going to do is done, you know? So, you know, to your point, I understand where you're coming from, where it's like, I locked in and this is what came of it. Like, that is kind of hard to explain to
It's
people.
kind of right.
Cause like, there's no playbook before you did that. And so it's hard to like give the playbook when you know, you're not writing it, you're doing it, you know, like you didn't go
Exactly.
back in retrospect and like, this is how I did it. So
I think those are the most valuable people. Growing up, I think teachers are the most valuable human beings on the planet. Professors, teachers, whatever. Because, yeah, most of the time, you're not a master until you can teach and show someone else, to me. And I think that's where it's like, I'm not a master yet, y'all. I'm still doing it. I'm in it. I know what it feels like to not be doing it. I know what it feels like to be in it, right? To that 0 dark 30. Can I tell you how to do it? Not quite yet. But maybe one day I will be able to. And I think now that I'm in this space, I know, like you said earlier, you're not the first one to transition. So now I'm finding like minded people. And I think if I could piece together all of our information and find patterns, maybe I can tell you how to transition and how to stay in that flow state and deliver and continue down this path despite all of your obstacles. But right now, all I can say is, I mean, you just gotta do it and you gotta fail and you gotta do it again. And you have to fail. And you can't be afraid of fail. I mean, you can be afraid of failing, but you do it anyways.
for sure. One more question before we move out of this portion of it that I'm
Yeah.
personally curious about.
Yeah.
I understand flow state. Once you got into this writer's room, was it for you, you know, you were using the skill set that you already had, but had probably, I'm guessing, probably had never used in this capacity before?
You're 100% correct.
What was that like? Do you feel like, was it simply a thing where like the work you had done had prepared you for that? Or was it a thing where it's day one and you're like, I get my shit together quick? Like what, or was it both?
I think it was a combination of both, Daniel. You're really making me dig deep here. I appreciate that. In my writer's room, yeah, I had definitely no experience. I'm not going to pretend. I had no experience prior to this, outside of what I did in my own house, in my own room, submitting, studying what a screenplay looked like. It's very different than writing a book, writing a story, writing a tweet, writing an essay. It's very different. Um, and so when I joined this writer's room, I can tell you one time where I felt like the connection, like the little like snap together and like the molecules came together. There was a scene we were writing about, and there was a hurricane incoming. And I was like, oh, I can write this as realistic as possible, given that I've studied, I did, one of my classes was ocean engineering. I'm an engineer, I'm a civil and environmental engineer, so I know the environmental impacts of stuff on land or whatever, depending on where you are. And so there was just a specific scene, and we were all kind of arguing to get it right. And I said, hey, um, realistically, this is how it would go. This is how the warnings would be shared. This is the amount of time that would pass between this. And I was like, wait, I know that because I'm an engineer. So I can kind of incorporate the things that I know and what I've been studying for the past, at that point it was 7 years, and incorporate it into my writing, right? Because people think STEM, very structured math, science, physics. How can you put that into writing and creativity? It's like, well, I understand the structure of it all so that I can integrate that. I understand the structure, professionalism, the math of it all, and I can put it into the creativity and the stories that we're telling and make them as realistic as possible. I think that was the only time that I can really call out that I was able to bridge my two worlds together. But then ever since then, it's been they're both parts of me, right? Like Venom.
So What We Watch is, I'm assuming it's under the Palmer Productions LLC umbrella, correct? Or is that
Um,
separate? It is.
it is. That
Okay.
doesn't really matter to anyone unless you're in part of my cap table, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. What we watch is a branch of my production, my LLC. Yes. The
So at
biggest.
what, I'm sorry?
The biggest branch. The one
Yeah.
everyone knows. Yeah.
So at what point did, you're writing, but at what point did that become like apparent to you? Like that you had to like, maybe not had to, but at what point did you decide like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. Like, this is what people are going to take me serious about next.
For what we watch
Yes.
in November 2019. When I
Okay. So
watched Parasite.
that was part of it.
That is when I
And
made that decision.
understood. Understood.
Yeah, yeah, well before I got here. This has been a long time in the making. I said, y'all will respect me as a filmmaker moving forward. Hadn't even made a film. Hadn't even looked at a screenplay. I didn't even know what a script was. Well, I mean, obviously I did. I wasn't completely disconnected from. I've always watched movies. But that was the time and the day.
Okay.
And then it was just a matter of y'all getting on board.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, well, I said this. Eventually, y'all will take me seriously. But I know I take myself seriously, so.
Yeah. So on your What We Watch website, on the nonprofit section, it says the nonprofit branch focuses on helping the children of divorced couples ages 13 to 23 gain access to higher education and job opportunities in the fine arts and humanities. What inspired that portion of it for you?
So I kind of skimmed over it because I was answering your questions, but I was in a very dark place. I'd kind of been at my wit's end with my career. And at that point, I had done what everyone told me to do. And again, my mathematical brain, I'm like, okay, if I do everything that I was told, I should feel this. This should be like this input, this output. And sure. Everyone was so proud of me. Oh, this is how you should be living. I'm so proud of you. I knew you'd always, blah, blah, blah. And I felt nothing. I was just sitting around my house, right? And I mean, being in the pandemic didn't help it, but I'd felt it before, right? And I was just like, this is what y'all wanted me to work for? This sucks. If I would have known this 7 years ago, I would have never done this shit. Like, this is crazy. I think that when you're in very dark places and you kind of do everything you're told to do and not what's burning inside of you, you can really get on the wrong path, right? You're the wrong calling, and it's very hard to find your way back. And I am a child of divorced parents, but my parents did not divorce until I left for college. So I've kind of always felt an obligation to my family, to my immigrant family, to be the engineer, to be the successful, smart STEM girl. And I was like, well, what if I was encouraged to just write when I was younger? What if I was encouraged to just follow my heart? Where would I be right now? Yes, it's all hypothetical. These are just, psychological questions and hypotheticals. But I said, well, if I can't do that for myself, then I'm going to do it for other people. I'm going to ensure that the 12-year-old that just enjoys reading and writing can have access and be uplifted and affirmed in that concept and in that endeavor, and that you can be successful in the fine arts, humanities, entertainment industry if you want to. You don't have to be a STEM girl for your family to be proud of you. And I know that's where my nonprofit branch has, been able to come to fruition and make an impact on people and make them know, like, you can do this. You're going to sound insane to most people. And most people are not going to support you because the world is not very kind to the fine arts and humanities of it all. But art will survive us. So someone has to make it.
For sure. That's very admirable to, take your experience and want to create a pathway for other people. I won't belabor because this is not my interview, but I really resonate with certain parts of what you were saying. Like I grew up in, I'm sorry?
No, please tell
Oh,
me.
yeah, I grew up in, the Virginia Beach area, huge military area. And my mom was one of the most successful out of her eight sisters. And she did it by working for the government and for 40 years and retiring 40 plus years. And my dad did the same thing. They met at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard.
Oh,
And so, I actually wrote a lot growing up, poems and like, stories or whatever, and then live journal. But I wanted to my first semester in engineering. I was like, this ain't it, and I wanted to go into
I'm
like
glad you
journalism.
knew that early on. I
my
couldn't
my
honor that feeling. I was like, I guess I gotta do this. All right. No, but I had fun.
unfortunately
I liked engineering. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, my GPA was collateral, but I did know at least. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to go into journalism, communication, or something like that. But it was like they were help financially supporting me, and so it was like there's no money in that. They kind of spoke to what they knew, which was graduate, go farther in the government than we did. You'll have a good life for yourself, a better life than we did. And so I did that, and I have done that, and here I am. You know what I mean? Filling that blank, like I'm sure you could imagine what that is.
Oh,
Um, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, Respect to you for what you have done so far and what you continue to do. I normally don't do this, but I know you said you skimmed over some of what you expressed just for the sake of answering my questions. I want to give you the opportunity if you want to, no pressure.
yeah.
But is there anything else that you skimmed over to this point that you would like to amplify?
No, no.
Okay.
I think that was the biggest one.
Okay.
Everything, like people say on social media, it's the highlight reels. You never see the BTS. I also am obsessed with BTS because I think that's the real story behind everything, not the perfect product that you see at the end. But that I just wanted to highlight that it did take me being in a very dark, desolate, isolated, confused place. I tell people I had to crawl out of a hole. I had to claw and crawl my way out. It was not pretty, it was not sexy. There's nothing, if I would not recommend it if you're not like ready. You know what I mean? Because it is very difficult. If you're listening, no, yes, you can feel it. Yes, you can want it, but it is going to hurt. And it is going to be very difficult. If you can, like I said, imagine just crawling and clawing out of a deep hole. It's raining, it's muddy, there's bugs everywhere, you ain't got no water, you're thirsty, but you just keep climbing. You're like, I see it, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna get out this hole. And that's how it felt getting to LA. And then it's like once you get out of that hole and you're like, all right, you can dust yourself off, you're still not done. It's like, okay, now what do? Now you're out of this hole. And you can look back at the hole and be like, damn, I'm glad I got out. But now you gotta work again in a different way, right? Maybe you can go grab some water now. But I just wanted to make sure that that was clear in my journey. We always kind of skim over that. It's like, no, let's talk about how you got here, how you got here. And it's like
Yeah.
that part, it
Yeah.
was dark, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so easy to talk about it now, but then it was not easy. And I don't ever want to forget how difficult that was and is.
For sure. I just wanted to do my due diligence as an interviewer because it's a hard thing to figure out how to ask. It is also can be a hard thing for people to express. But again, I just wanted to. I'm glad you said that because like it is emotionally very difficult to get out of whatever dark hole, but then to like go past that and like still do the work once
Stay
you're out of
committed.
it is very difficult things to do
If
in and of themselves. So
if it were easy, more people would do it because I don't think that I am unique in feeling it and wanting it. But it's fucking do it. And if it wasn't, more people, if it wasn't that hard, more people would do it. But you stay in this stagnant place in your life and you kind of plateau. Then you look up and you're 70 years old and you're like, well, anyways, I didn't live a bad life, but I didn't take those risks that I wanted to at 25, 30, 35, 40. And it's never too late, but you do have to do it.
Definitely. So on your website, you also offer other services, including piano moderation, production support, behind the scenes, which you just referenced, script editing. Were those skills that you also built along the way, or was this also like a product of work, or is this another combination?
When you decide to do a thing, I wanted to move to LA to be a screenwriter. That's what I wanted to do. That was it, God. I said, God, this is what I want to do. He said, I got a little bit more for you to do, my girl. It's going to be a little bit more on this journey. I said, fine. All right. And so I think, and I've been building this website for now. I think its birthday was recently. It's 4 or 5 years now, 5, 6 years. And it grows, right? It changes. I think I'm going to update my website here in the next 2 months. It's time to get with my developer again and see. But I think I put those services on there. I know I put those services on them because I was doing them. It's like, I'm already doing this. And only the people that know. But now if you go to What We Watch and you need help and you need quality at an affordable price that understands that marginalized artists don't have the same access to resources that everyone else does, right? Come work with me and my team. And I think that BTS is my favorite thing to do because I can capture the story behind the product, right? And that's where all the work is. That's where all the fun is to me, right? When people say it's not the destination, it's the journey, I fully agree. The journey is so much more beautiful than the destination. But panel moderation, I guess I have a talent. And so people always want me to kind of be the face and govern conversations and facilitate conversations around their pieces of work, their bodies of work. And so that's something that I've been able to do. My film festival kind of is that I host and produce and sponsor is the evidence to all of that, right? Daniel, you'll be at one, you'll be able to see. So people see me at these things and like, oh, I would love for her to host, moderate for my event, private screening, my whatever it is. And so I was like, well, I do these things. Let me let people know that there's no one better to do it than me and my team. So that's why those services are there on my homepage. I am here to serve. This really isn't about me. It is. I'm here on this interview, but ultimately, What We Watch is not about me. Or I would call it What I Watch. It's what we watch.
I'm glad you brought up the film festival because that makes this segue a little bit easier for me. You just had your third, correct?
Three-peat.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the idea for that? Like I'm gathering so far that you're in your flow state, you're doing the things, more things are coming from doing the things. Was this another thing that came from doing the things?
Nope. So, yep, you're paying attention. This is a very challenging interview. I like this. So now I'm going to take you out of the flow state. My film festival, not flow state at all, whatsoever. Not a fan of the work that goes into making film festival. Big fan of my work. I know the impact it makes. Don't take me on that, guys. It's a lot of work behind it. I do not recommend. I hosted a digital show that was the crux of me getting out of my dark place. It was when I first started. I don't think it was weekly when I first started. That came because life came. But I think I was hosting Clubhouse rooms probably daily, if not like 3 to 4 times weekly. And that was the only thing we could do during the pandemic to bring people together, right? Shout out to Clubhouse. And I said, well, how can I because everyone missed it when it stopped, right? When I was kind of transitioning, moving into LA again, deep in my work as an artist myself. They're like, well, when is the next What We Watch? What are we doing? Like, when's the next show? Digital show. And I was like, okay, I can continue to do this. And I got paid to do that monthly with Twitter Spaces. And I was like, all right, well, how do I keep doing this? I don't know, guys. I don't know what do you want me to do? And I was like, I went to a couple film festivals, like, oh, I could do it like this. I could bring, instead of just talking about the work that we see on television every day, Monique, you're trying to highlight independent artists. Why don't you bring the conversation to life by doing a film festival? So that's how it came about. I had thousands of people joining my rooms, and it was just like, well, now we're all excited to be outside again. We want to be in person. How do I do this? Okay, come to this event. You'll mingle and we'll talk about film all day. We'll watch movies and we'll talk about it, and you'll hear the artists talk about it too. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Just had to make it my own. Put a little nice rim on it and stuff. Make it shiny.
Yep. At a high level, what was it like? I know you don't recommend it, but at a high level, what can you describe the work that went into putting that actually together, bringing it to life?
Man, shout out to all the event coordinators. Let me start there.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
them.
to every single event coordinator. Whatever your rate is, double it. It is insane to what I do. I genuinely, I think I'm unwell. But the work that goes into it, it's not like a birthday party, right? It's not like a club event. Which shout out, no shade. Shout out to everybody that does that, right? It's not like a 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. We have to have the drinks flowing and the decor and all. It's a little bit more involved because you are taking care of people's art, and you're also responsible for the audience. And every filmmaker has a different story to tell, has a different background, and has different needs and desires to get out of this, right? It's about them. But you also want your audience to feel engaged, right? Because otherwise, why are we here? If no one's watching your movie, right? You kind of need, and we don't like to talk about it like that as artists. Like, I don't care if anybody ever sees my movie, but we do, because you kind of have to, right? So that I can continue to make more art. And so it's just this constant balance. And then it's getting sponsors, money, money, money. And that's all always that. But even without the money, it's curating the experience. It's maintaining these relationships with your vendors, with your sponsors, with your home venue. It's making sure that all of your talent, because I have panels, so the panel moderators, I'm working with, like, it's not very fun, talent agencies and, publicists and everybody else. And I'm working with no less than 30 different schedules for everyone, right? To plan all this. I have to have a team. I have to promote. I have to, field submissions, right? I mean, I think it is so incredible, if I may toot my own horn. I think it is so incredible that me, an engineer from Dallas, a Panamanian engineer from Dallas, a black woman from Dallas, just came to LA, and people want to submit to her film festival. Like, that's crazy. So I got to sit down and watch everybody's pieces of art, and including some of my friends, and really kind of critique it. And then I had to take myself out of it too, because I was like, well, I need a committee to kind of help me. Like, what do you, like, you guys field these submissions? That's so cool to me, right? Like, I just decided to do this in 2023, and I have hundreds of submissions that have been submitted over 3 years, hundreds of them. I think first year it was like 50 or 60, 50, 45. The second year was a lower year because it was after the strike, so it wasn't as many, and that was a good thing. It was like 40, but then last year it was like 65.
Mm.
So it's just hundreds of pieces that we've reviewed, and we've been able to showcase at least 30 of them. And so it's a lot of work. We're taking care of so many people. It's not just everybody come in, have a great time. I have a liquor sponsor, so we have drinks, we have snacks. It's a very highly curated, intimate event, and it takes all of me. It takes every bit of me and rips it apart. And then on the day, they all come back together. That's it. And then I cry my eyes out after every film festival. I do, guys. I sob. I cry for hours after every film festival.
Could understand, honestly. Um, so you said that the journey is more important than a destination. But what did the destination feel like though? Like, what did it feel like? It came together beautifully 3 times so far. You cried your eyes out for consecutive amount of hours.
Yes.
What did that just like feel like? Like you're out of your own body and you're watching yourself like put this together. Like, damn, that's me. What did it feel like?
I will say it is hard for me to talk about what I feel like on the day of the film festival. I do enter my flow state each of those days. I couldn't tell you what's happening when people are like, "You're doing great, you're doing great." I don't even know, like, I don't know how I'm being perceived. I don't think about it, right? LeBron and Kobe don't think about what people are seeing when they get on the court. They're just hooping, you know? I don't, the stats, I don't really know. I just know how I felt in there and I was just locked in. Um, but the feeling after is a sense of relief. I truly believe that the journey is more important than the destination because the destination is a snap of a finger. I mean, I time isn't real, and I truly believe that. Because if you ever create a thing for years, months, whatever it is, right? A movie can take up to years to make. Once you show your movie and it's your opening weekend, that's it. That's it. Once you have your film festival, those 5 to 7 to 8 hours, they go by so fast. And it feels like a moment. And if you rely on that moment, you will never want to do anything again, right? It's kind of like the opposite of if you talk to women that have ever been pregnant that gave birth to us. They'll tell you God makes you forget about the pain so that you'll do it again. It's very much the opposite of that I think, with art. I think you have to remember all of the work and the beauty and the pain that goes into it. Because if you just rely on this time, like the time in which you win the award, it's a very fleeting moment. It passes by so fast, and it doesn't, at least for me, let me speak for myself, it's not fulfilling enough. Great. Number 3, done. But when I think about the work and the impact and my team and every filmmaker that's like, wow, you just changed my entire life, and all the work that I did, then I'm like, okay, this is worth doing it again. But if you're chasing that gold medal, I mean, Noah Lyles wins the medal and he puts it in his room, and then, life continues. We're not talking about Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
Great job.
What else is on TV?
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. We're talking about everything else that's happening. The news cycle is insane, right? Everybody that's in this business knows it's just going to keep going. So you have to really be grounded in the work.
Sure. Appreciate you sharing that, by the way, and the way you shared it.
Am I talking too much?
No, you're doing
it. What I tend to do. There's nothing I can do about it.
A little bit before that, earlier in the summer, you filmed a game show, the 10th film, 15 TV game show. Never before done. How did you come up with the concept for that?
Was Mario a part of that? No.
He was. Wait, no?
Well,
okay.
Yes, he was. He was not a part of the concept.
Yeah.
But he did push me to make the concept. That man will make you do a thing.
He's good for that, for sure.
He is good for that, right?
That's why I'm here.
Shout out to Mario. Everyone, everyone on my show, all of my guests, they love Mario. They will talk to me about Mario, and I'm like, who are you talking about? But it's not because I don't know. It's because, why do you know Mario? You don't know Mario. Mario don't even be showing his face. Well, I guess he shows his face sometimes.
Yeah.
But they'd be like, yo, my boy Mario. And I'm like, is Mario going to be at the film fest? I was like, Mario? I said, all right, boy, you famous, my boy. Mr. Producer, Mr.
Right.
Right, you not showing up. They peep. They know. Man, I tweeted this, I believe. I thought of my game show before I had my first film festival. No, it was after my first film festival, May 2023. Came out May 2025. Again, I'll be telling people, I'm going to say, I do what I say I'm going to do. One of my closest friends, at the time, he was like, I remember you talking about this show. He was like, hey, you really like, you don't be playing, like when you say you're gonna do something, you do it. And I was like, yes. He was like, this, it's so fire. And I'm like, yes, I'm very proud. I got the right team. The 10-15 challenge, man, that's my favorite. Everybody loves it too. Everybody wants to be on the show. And I'm like, hold on. You gotta know ball to be on this show. And I'm just glad we're able to infiltrate the podcast world and make it really, really fun and exciting and make people want to win. For better or worse, I am around extremely competitive people and they all want to win. And I like that. I like that hunger. I'm like, let's win. Let's see if you really know ball, movies and TV. So it's been a really fun journey. We're recording the tournament here within the next month. So I'm very excited. You heard it here first. The 10-15 tournament of your first 5 guests is coming. We'll see who the champion is.
That's exciting. It was a good season. I watched every episode. I don't watch a whole lot of podcasts at this point, but to put a twist on it the way you did, like it's something new. Like,
Yeah.
like it's very easy for it to be like how did you do that? What did that, but to have like a game show element to that's a really, and the
It's
guests
so
that
much
you
fun.
had. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you loved our guests?
Yeah,
They're
for
great.
sure.
Those are my people, man. They're great. They're great.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh gosh, I got that wrong. No. Because you think you know your stuff. This is my favorite show. And let's see.
So with all that you have going on, whichever level of detail, how would you describe like a day or a week in your life? Like, what does that look like? Whichever one makes for the easiest answer or the most complete answer, like, feel free. But I wanted to put it out there with multiple options.
0 out of 10, do not recommend. No. No, 10 out of 10 recommend it. My team, they think I'm like the coolest, most impressive human being. They're like, you're managing 1 billion things. And I'm like, and no one told me to. I'm just like, Daniel, I could end all of this today. I could just say, I'm not doing this anymore. Right? The same way I said I'm doing it. I could just be like, I'm not doing it anymore. No one told me to do this. My day to day is I have my primary job that pays the bills that I've been very blessed to just kind of create my own schedule around. Of the best clients in the world. Then I have my app that I'm building. So I meet with my developers weekly. If not, just checking in constantly. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm a Black woman in tech and I have an app coming out. It's a big fucking deal. I produce a series of movies, which also take a ton of work. That's meeting with people. That's cold calling people. That's having lunch, tea, pitching, decks, calls, check-ins. The 4 services that I provide on my website, I'm always available for those things. People are like, hey, can you do this day? Can you do this day? A film festival that kind of doesn't really stop. I give myself like 2 to 3 months so I breathe and be a human being again. But we got to get ready. We got to get ready for the next year. These are not small tasks. I also am writing and directing my first film this year and into next year. That is where I feel happiest and most fulfilled. And so I know that's my calling, and I know that everything's going to be very great when that movie comes out. And again, it's not the destination, but I'm enjoying it so much. What else? That I'm a mother. I always tell people I have my son, Rondo. He's a big part of my life. And yeah, I mean, I am always busy. I find it interesting, the term busy. There's no one in my life that isn't busy, including myself. We're all busy. And so we have to be very meticulous about how we expend our energy. I think that's how I judge myself and how I judge others. How are you spending your energy? Not necessarily your time. Because when people say we all have the same 24 hours, we do. It's disingenuous in a way, but we do have the same 24 hours. What we don't have the same of is where we allot all of our energy. And because I have something to do all the time, I have to schedule my grief. That's a Succession reference. Shaban had to schedule her grief. You do. When you've got so much going on, you got to schedule your grief. You got to schedule time with the people that you love. You got to schedule time to relax, right? I have to try to relax. I have to force myself to take that, or my body will force me to, which is why I got a little sick. And so you just have to be it's a very curated, succinct structure, right? I think the calendar is the best thing to happen to me. I have 2 calendars and we have to stick to it. If it's not on my calendar, it's not happening because I don't have a lot of free time by design. If I wanted free time, I would create it, but I'm doing things that I love to do. So yeah, that's a day in the life. I'm recording, I'm writing, I'm producing, I'm on a call, I'm on another call, I'm developing an app. I'm checking in with my other developer for my websites. I'm talking to my marketing team. I'm recording a podcast so that people understand that this ain't no game.
Definitely not a game. Definitely not a game. If you could choose, is there anything that you could have done differently, or when you look back so far, it's like
Daniel,
I did everything the way it was supposed to be done?
Daniel, were these questions in the thing?
I swear to God, they were.
I actually kind of like that I don't want to, I'm not unprepared. I'm always prepared, but I kind of like that you're making me really, if there anything I would do differently. Huh. I'm glad I didn't really look into this. You make me honest, raw, no prep. I think my answer is no. No, because the thing that I would do differently, I had no control over. And I think when you are creative at heart and in the depths of your soul, oh my God, so many things can be different, but you kind of relinquish a lot of the control that you have in the world. I think that's when I'm able to create most beautifully, when I realize that I have no control over anything or anyone. So the thing I would change is when I began. I wish I would have jumped into this a lot sooner, but I also simultaneously believe that I jumped in at the perfect time.
Yeah, that's a great answer. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, like for Clubhouse to have kind of been sort of a jump start, like what other thing would have made Clubhouse what it became? So yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, and this is why I pray a lot now. I don't want to be devastated to have to and want to make a change. Don't put me in the deep hole. Let me make changes outside of the deep hole, right? So yeah, Clubhouse got big because the world was struggling, right? I don't want the world to struggle for there to be a rebirth or a reboot or an improvement or a step forward. Sometimes that's what it takes. A lot of times that's what it takes. So it's scary. But yeah, I wish I could have started earlier, but what would have made me start earlier? I was making money. I was doing everything I was told to do. What would have made me lock in?
If Parasite would have came out in like 2014.
Yeah. But what stage of my life was in at 2014, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. I think everything, shout out to Bong Joon-ho, man. I changed my life because of that, man. I really did. I said, if he can make this kind of impact by just making a movie, now I see it. Like, making a movie is a big thing. It's a big deal. It's a lot of work. A lot of people involved. Yeah. Big collaboration. Yeah. Thank you for asking me that.
Of course. Thank you for answering. What has been the hardest moment of your journey so far?
The hardest moment?
Yeah. If you could choose one, I've heard several, but
everything is freaking hard. Yeah. No. The hardest part, it's balancing doing what you love and the recognition that you feel you deserve. I'm not doing it for recognition, but we do want it, right? I need acknowledgement. If I got it, then tell me I got it then, right? Like, we do kind of need it. But then we don't. Like when I'm creating, I'm not thinking what other people will think of this. But it matters, right? We're in this really, really, really difficult and unique industry where perception is paramount. It matters. How you're perceived, what people think of you matters. So it's disingenuous for us to walk around and be like, I don't care what people think of me. Well, yeah, you do. Your entire work is predicated on when people see it, what do they feel? Now, I don't want any control over that, but I'm invested in it. And I think that's the hardest thing. It's like, you don't see the work behind it. You don't see the passion. You don't know, you don't have all of that. You just have the product to judge. And how much do I respect that? How much do I value that over knowing that I spent the last 7 months staying up till 2 in the morning working on this. And all you can say is, or wow, that was great. Or whatever it is, right? Like how balancing that is one of the most difficult things in this film and television industry. Because I don't give a fuck what you think. But I absolutely do give a fuck what you think.
Sure. I can see that. What's been the coolest moment so far?
Coolest. Oh man, everything I do is cool, Daniel. Everything I do is cool. My brain just got flooded, inundated with all the coolest moments. I mean, I just very casually talked to Sterling K. Brown for like 30 minutes the other day. I got to talk to Nia Long and Lorenz Tate. I get to do interviews like this and, make an impact on people. I'm friends with all the famous people everyone loves and adores, and they're just my friends, I get support and financial support from the coolest, most gracious, most generous, most talented human beings in the industry. Everything I do is so fucking cool. I live a very, very, very cool life. I am very, very grateful that I clawed and crawled my way to this point.
Very cool. Is there any, this might inundate you again, but if it's not a different answer, it's fine, but is there anything that you're the most proud of?
Me. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the fact that, I'm getting emotional right now. Oh my God. There are 1 billion reasons to not continue. Every day, there's at least 10 reasons not to continue this. And for some delusional, sick reason, I continue to do it. And I'm very proud of myself. Because you don't get an award every day. You don't get, oh my God, I loved your film festival every day. Sometimes you do. I guess I do. People like my film festival. You don't get to show your movie on a screen every day. That's just like a couple of things. You don't get to talk to Sterling K. Brown every day. It's like, why do I keep doing this? But you have to find something deep within you. And I think that's what I'm most proud of. I always remember my why. And I'm always in a state of gratitude.
Great. So you already answered sort of this, really the next two questions, but is there anything that you haven't shared in terms of what you have coming up, upcoming events? Is there anything that was missed that you want to express?
Well, just stay locked in, guys, with me. What we watch is never stopping. Right now, I'm doing a really cool thing. I've pushed myself even more as if I'm not pushing myself again. I have this odd resentment with social media. I think we all do in a way, especially how the algorithms, which is just a bunch of people judging how to make more money off of us. So I've decided that I'm going to forget all of that and do things that make me uncomfortable. And I have a Hispanic Heritage Month series. A lot of people believe that I do not highlight my Hispanic culture enough, which is so performative to me. I don't feel like I need to perform. But again, that's the social media age. You gotta perform who I am. This is just who I am. So I have a daily Hispanic Heritage Month facts where I kind of bridge facts about myself as a Latina, but also about the culture and what we kind of talk about and experience in Hispanic communities. So I love that. So make sure you're tapped into that on social media, on Instagram and Twitter and all of that good stuff. X. Um, then I have a movie coming out. I mean, it's still in pre-pro. We're still writing, but as I said, I do the things I say I'm going to do. So when you see my movie in a year or two, don't be like I said. I said this was happening. Stay tuned for our next film festival. I also have an incredible app. So as a Latina, a lot of times there's just never enough space for us. So I have to create it. And that's what I did with this app. It's the What We Watch app, built from those conversations in Clubhouse, those conversations on Twitter Spaces, and from my film festival, and just really kind of bringing it into this amazing mobile app where the conversation will always continue. Film and TV will never die. Theaters will never die. So all of that is coming. Very excited.
I'm going to zoom out of the Palma Productions cinematic universe for a second and ask a very surface
I love that
question
you said
to bring
that.
us home.
The PCU.
What have been your favorite TV shows and movies so far this year?
Having a great time. I'm having a great time. One battle after another. I'm into these movies.
I gotta go see that.
Sinners was this year, right? God,
Sinners,
year.
yeah, Sinners was this year.
What's
The second one you mentioned, that's out right now, right?
It just came out. This is
Yeah,
opening
I
weekend,
gotta go see that.
right? Oh, PTA movie. Love PTA. Paul Thomas Anderson. It's unique. He's my guy. What else did I've enjoyed? It's TV shows. Paradise. Sterling K. Brown.
Really good.
Gen V. Gen V is not as good as the first season, but it's such an easy watch. I really enjoyed it. I also watched The Better Sister this year on Amazon Prime with Jessica Biel. Shout out to Jessica Biel. She's dope. I like Jessica Biel. She's great. I had a really good time with Hunting Wives on Netflix. I've kind of delved into a little bit of like the more kind of raunchy, not raunchy, but like, yeah, I mean, Hunting Wives is very raunchy, like raunchy mystery TV shows this year. Like I want a little bit more of the drama and the chaos this year. I'm usually more of a drama romance or like very like House of the Dragon, like high production value and things like that, and cinematic, perfection. The Pit, again, not I wouldn't necessarily call it raunchy. I mean, that is really high level production there. Not to say that all these other shows aren't, but I mean, it's just fun, sexy TV. Like I like it reminds me of like the early 2000s, which is why, recession TV. That's what it is. It is what it is. So yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm actually I've watched most of those, so I think yeah.
Did you
So
love The Pit?
cool. I actually still need to finish that one, but I loved what I've seen so far.
So good. So good.
Very good.
It's just people in the medical room just having a good time and having a
Yeah,
terrible time. It's just great.
I was gonna say, well, that's one way to look at it.
Having a good time, having a terrible time. So, yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to leave the listener with? Like whatever's on your heart. It doesn't have to be like super motivational. Just like if there's anything that's on your heart today that you feel like you want to share, is there anything or nothing?
I feel like it's my responsibility to instill motivation. Again, so much of the world is not motivating. There's a lot of reasons to quit. There are 5,000 reasons a day to quit. So yeah, no, I don't know. If you don't want me to be motivational, I don't know what I mean. And, motivation is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I could say anything, and if you're not motivated to do it and execute, it doesn't really matter, right? I guess I'll leave you with this. Do not, under any circumstance, uh, believe what people tell you about dating. It's been heavy on my heart lately. Uh, your reality is whatever you make it. I know I sound like a filmmaker right now, but I'm being very serious. Like, this person's relationship doesn't necessarily mean uh, that that's going to work for you. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. I think that's a big deal. If you're single out there, I recommend giving up. But I recommend giving up just so that you can take some time to kind of quiet all the noise around all of your attempts to be in a relationship and really kind of focus on where your flow state is, what makes you happy outside of the dependence on someone else, and just like quiet all the noise. Like, don't listen to anyone that agrees with you or disagrees with you. Just listen to yourself for a little bit. That's what I'll say. I'm going to talk about film. And watch movies, though. You should watch movies while you're trying to quiet the noise. So you can just like immerse yourself in some fictional dating life.
Embrace that paradox. Well, I'm very appreciative that during your post film festival reset, you took some time to speak with me and to be so open about your journey. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Where can people follow you?
Where can people follow me? Go to my website, whatwewatch.net, and I take any feedback. We're doing a revamp right now from a branding, like visual perspective. But any feedback on that, if something is like not as easy to find, or you went to my website to try to understand a little bit and you couldn't, let me know. Whatwewatch.net. Stay tuned. Follow me on WWW Film TV everywhere. That's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube is underscore what we watch. You'll put all the links and stuff here, right?
Will do.
And yeah, just stay tuned for my app. I think eventually over the next probably 9 to 12 months, you'll see that that's the only place you're going to be able to find me is on my app. So be locked in for that. And I'm really happy for all the support. Thank you for everyone that's rocking with us and watching the show up to this time. And thank you, Daniel. This is by far the most challenging interview I've ever done. So you really made me dig deep.
Well, I hope you had a good time digging deep.
I did.
But good. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you to all the listeners who have made it to this point. You can follow me at the Monarch Brand on mostly Instagram, and follow Appraise the Phrase at the Appraise the Phrase Show on Instagram. ATP. They have other handles on other things, but if you find the one on Instagram, that'll point you to all the other ones. So just do
the
that.
The ATP show on Twitter, for sure. I always struggle finding them. Like, I want to put in Appraise the Phrase and it never comes up. Where did the Monarch come from?
So, it's funny. It's not funny. I was in my own dark time, pretty much, and I'm trying to, like, as you ask this and as I answer this, I'm trying to cut this 20-minute story down to like 30 seconds. But in my own dark period, I came up with a physical product. More so because I lost my job, I lost my place, and I was actually living with a friend on his couch in his one bedroom in Fairfax, Virginia. And I just started making stuff to save money. Like colognes, lotion, hair products. And I made it as gifts too. Like, they made cheap, like, thoughtful gifts. And people were like, you should make this, you should sell this. Like, I would buy this from, like, people actually genuinely enjoyed it. And as I sort of did what I was told in that regard, I was very stuck. I'm not really traditionally good with coming up with names for things. So I was very stuck coming up with a name. Yeah, it was. Sure. And then, like, I was caught up in this bubble of, like, let me make it about something that I'm making right now. Like, make it like essential something or organic, whatever, because I was doing it with like essential oils or whatever. One morning I was meditating and just like a caterpillar came up, and I witnessed during my meditation this caterpillar transition to a butterfly. And I like got out of my meditation, and that was it. It was like this does not put my brand in a box. It can be whatever it wants to be.
Yeah.
It encompasses my story so far, and it just stuck and it didn't go anywhere.
Nice.
And so, yeah, that's how the Monarch brand came to be.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Thank you again to the listener for listening. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, no, thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. But thanks again to the listener. And you know where to find us now. And stay tuned for the next episode.